Hey, I'm Sug.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Demystified Zone.
The only podcast that has been pre-banned in North Korea.
What? Hey, what's up, Dan?
Hey, Sug.
Happy Monday to you today.
Happy Moon Day.
It's odd that I know everyone doesn't really know when we record.
Yeah.
This is a mystery.
We don't know either.
And we don't know. It's cloak and dagger against ourselves.
Yes.
We never know where we'll be.
Yeah, it's just all based on the stars aligning properly.
If you're fortunate enough to see us recording today on the YouTubes or wherever you find this podcast on the cybernets, if it is even out there, I don't even know.
Yeah.
We are in a undisclosed location for reasons we can't talk about.
Yeah. It's very homey to me.
It is. We have a guest in studio.
Yeah.
A really cute, lovable, furry friend.
Yeah.
And no, it is not Jay, but Jay is here. Luna, the dog.
Yeah.
Luna is our studio dog now.
Yep.
She doesn't
She's
care.
been really good. She's not chewing anything.
She's been great.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a licking of the feet earlier today during mic check, but she's now on her seat, just listening, trying not to listen, looks like. I think she's embarrassed for you. She's embarrassed for her dad.
Dad jokes.
Yeah, she's like, oh, she just rolled her head. Look at that. At your own self-deprecation.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come in today. It's that time of month. It's when we do our headlines, our hot tea for the last month in North Korea. All the best headlines that we could come up with, or that we have access to, I guess, that's been happening in North Korea. You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into the Dugunbori cha. Okay, we got a nice lineup today, so let's just get right into it. Go ahead and hit us with the first one, Jay.
North Korea launches its first nuclear attack submarine.
Just so you know, we've added that nice, wonderful Korean. That's authentic Korean soundtracks right there, y'all.
It's incredible. It's like transporting us to North Korea.
I feel like we're a real TV show now. We're legit.
We are.
Great job, Jay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first headline, NK state media announced that the country just launched its first operational tactical nuclear attack submarine. That's where we played that jolly music. Mm-hmm. To patrol the waters between Korean Peninsula and Japan. Of course, where else? Yep. The new submarine, titled Kim Kun-ok, named after the North Korean historical figure who led a maritime operation during the Korean War that sank the USS Baltimore, of course. Thank you. The North's latest weapon system was unveiled after its leader, KJU, proclaimed nuclear weapons development would allow the country to develop economically while the U.S. continues to impose sanctions on Pyongyang.
Yes. Well, I think having submarines to this day, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, is a huge tactical weapon and advantage, right? It's very hard to track subs.
It's huge, yeah.
Yeah. So, just positioning them, they can get in there all sneaky and launch in a surprise fashion. I think that's a big deal.
Yep. Against other ships, against land, et cetera, et cetera.
If you guys check out the photo of this thing, though, it is not very inconspicuous in terms of design.
It's got a bright red, white, and blue flag in front, not the U.S. Stars and Stripes, but the North Korean flag plastered to the front. I think that's not the battle-ready version.
That's the show version.
That's the showroom version. I hope.
The design, it doesn't leave much to the imagination. Let's just say that. It's very flamboyant. Let's say that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if that thing, but if you're underwater, who's going to look at that? The whales, they're just going to clear out the sea life in front of you, letting you know this big red star is coming your way.
Yeah.
You could check out the photo and all the links to the articles on this in our show notes, by the way, if you want to check it out. All right, next one.
North Korea only reports victories from the Asian Games.
Yes. A team of 191 athletes left Pyongyang on September 14th to take part in the 19th Asian Games held in the Chinese city of Hangzhou this month.
My first question is, if you're only going to report the victories, how many things did you report?
They
or
won
are they
a couple.
lies? Or are they just lies?
I know. At that point, like, if you're just going to tell the good side, well, like the soccer games that they reported beating the U.S. by a huge amount. Japan, they crushed Japan.
Well, just saying, like, so did they report the actual wins, or are they just saying they won everything? That would be my biggest question.
Yeah, so if you're only reporting the wins and people are like, what about everything else? Isn't it just assumed that then you got cremated in all these other ones?
Not if you don't know anything and you don't have the internet and you can't fact check anything.
Yeah,
in fact, I
that's
think
true.
North Korea is onto something. I kind of wish Chicago would adapt a similar approach and just lie to me. Just be
Oh
like,
my
we
gosh.
won everything this weekend.
정의하는 최고 용도자 동지께서는
Exactly. With that enthusiasm, just be like, hey, Chicago, don't worry, we won everything.
Yeah.
Baseball, you name it.
Oh, football especially.
Football,
It's-
baseball, hockey, we won it all.
The Bears have been it's North Korea level of not good, the Bears this year. If North Korea fielded a football team this year, they probably would be just as good as the Chicago Bears. Terrible.
They would hold up. They would be able to stop us.
Yeah, exactly.
They would stop us at the goal line at least a few times without even knowing the rules.
Oh my gosh.
If they put some of
Terrible.
those special forces guys on the line, oh man, I think they could. Those
Yeah.
guys with their faces
Yeah, exactly.
running through
Oh, yeah,
the boards.
They wouldn't need helmets.
Yeah, they'd be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine those guys like coming in to sack you? Oh my, they might not even respect the whistle at that point. You know, they're just gonna come break you.
You know, did you read that North Korea lost to South Korea in basketball by the score was 62-81. Pretty good smoking there. I
Maybe
wonder,
they thought they were playing by the wrong rules.
they were playing.
They were
by-
like, "What the heck? We scored 3 times in the last 30 seconds. Is that not 30 points?"
aren't dunks 3 points? What?
They're like, "Come on, ref, come on! Did you not see me get the dunk on that?" Oh man, sorry, North Korea, but I'm glad you're playing. You know
Yeah.
what? Props to you for playing.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
5 alleged burglars and murderers publicly executed in Cheongjin.
But this was a little bit while back, end of the summer here, end of August. 5 prisoners awaiting trial on charges of robbery, rape, murder, and illegal cattle slaughter escaped from a North Korean prison in the northern province of Lianggang. Prison breaks in North Korea are rare. The jailbreakers reportedly climbed over a barbed wire top wall while they were repairing the roof of the Social Security Department building when security was lax, quote unquote.
Yeah,
It's hard to. I don't know who I'm rooting for. not rooting. I don't know who I'm supporting here. You know,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
crimes seem very serious, obviously, but
of course.
how do we know? What is the justice system like there?
Oh, it's very serious. I mean,
Well, I mean, like, are these real crimes happening, or are these?
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like, is this the innocent being imprisoned for eating a cow for starving?
yeah. Well, the cow one, you know, yeah. You can never tell what's true or not, and especially, you know, in the journalism world, like you're not really naming a crime unless the law enforcement agencies start to name it like a possible murder or a possible, you know, whatever, right? You don't have that sense of impartiality with the North Korean justice system. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure these trials get trumped up, these charges get trumped up all the time based on, you know, your affiliations with certain government officials and things like that. Yeah, I don't take any of these crimes at face value.
And if you're starving, you're gonna do bad things, or
Yeah,
maybe
if
not
you're
bad
hungry,
things, but
yeah.
you're gonna do things that aren't rational sometimes, right?
Are you speaking for yourself? or-
Yes, I do that all the time. You don't want to see me when I'm hangry, Dan.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
It's not. That's why I'm
Cattle
always
beware.
make sure to feed you before these.
That's
these
true.
tapings.
I have noticed that. You bring in the food for me. Thank you.
Always. Yeah, I mean, it is. It is very plausible that someone might kill a cow to eat it because they were hungry. I mean, that's what happened during the famine. Like, basically all pets and livestock got killed off because, everyone's hungry. When you're desperate, you can't. Yeah.
I mean, if the threat of being in these prisons, well, let me acknowledge this first. It says it's never really happened where people escape. So the escape itself is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It sounds like they had a roofing job and they just jumped off the roof.
Yeah. I mean, these things are pretty high security as well. North Korea, they take their prison seriously.
That's one of the things they do really good.
Yeah.
It's one of their skill sets.
Yeah.
Prisons.
So I can't imagine them having any sort of chinks in their armor, right? Like, as far as the escapability of these places. This story seems strange all around, actually, now that I think about it.
So I'm laughing because I have a terrible joke about chinks in the armor. But I'm not going to say it. This is a family program.
It is.
Yes. I mean, they have cameras. They have barbed wire, clearly.
Yeah.
You don't need much to do a good prison. You don't, like right now, Luna's got this thing on her neck. She's in her own prison for herself. I'm sorry. If there's animal lovers that disagree, you might get some bad emails, Dan. I'm sorry. But you know what I mean? But like, they're not highly technological when it comes to
like electrify
their
that
systems.
They're
not doing this. Is barbed wire and like concrete walls and things like that. But it's their culture that really does a good job of keeping people in the prisons.
Jay, have you ever escaped from prison before?
No, I have not. My question is like, if it's how much of a comparison, like how bad is it really in the prison if when you're not in prison, life is pretty rough to begin with?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Well, if there's like floggings and stuff in the prison, I'm sure it's pretty bad.
I guess so.
When you're out there, unless you're flogging yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, they play mind games with you. It's the worst. Like, one day they'll have you move a pile of bricks to one side of the prison.
Yeah.
And then the next day they'll say, okay, move them back.
Yeah.
Just to like mess with your head, that everything that you do is meaningless.
Yeah.
It's like that movie, The Last Castle.
Yes, exactly. Robert Redford. It's a great one.
I never
James
saw that.
Gandolfini.
Oh.
R.I.P. All right, and hit us with the next one.
All right. A desperate North Korea has finally reopened.
Okay, that matched the music. Good job. North Korea reopened its gates to allies as the one and only state airline Air Koryo resumed services from Pyongyang to Beijing and Russia's port city of Vladivostok. Big news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doors are open again.
I mean, this is all a cash play for Kim Jong-un, right? Like probably for USD.
Why do you say that? They don't want more Chinese goods to flow in and Russian goods to flow in because of the only two doors that were really open.
Right. And Chinese tourists, Russian tourists. I mean, this is all a play for cash. Why would he be desperate? Is he lonely? No, they're desperate for cash. And they're desperate for cash because they want to buy, probably most of that money will go to their missile program. That's why.
Does this have anything to do with KJU's train ride to the cosmonaut location in Russia last month?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think the desperation connotes a money issue. I don't think those two are related. Well, maybe, yeah. I don't think those two are related.
The cryptocurrency heist department is not doing their jobs.
Well,
this month they
how's
haven't performed.
How's crypto doing these days? Isn't it?
It's struggling.
Still
It's struggling. Yeah, but still, stealing is not doesn't really care. The stealing doesn't matter when crypto's currency. If you just steal it, you're stealing it.
You just steal it, right?
But they're just not. Maybe all the easy coffers are now dried up, or secure now.
Yeah, I mean, they do need outside cash. The pandemic, they were terrified of it. They had to close all their borders. They're all tourism, and most of the trade that came back and forth from China, all of their, operations, sending workers overseas and getting USD in return, that all had to stop. So yeah, all of those operations put a halt on a lot of their cash cows, and sounds like they need the cash.
I don't want to spend too much more time, but I am very curious about this. And it's been something I've been meaning to ask you. Why close the door? Because it just said they only opened up 2 doors, and they're 2 friends.
Yeah.
Why close those doors or not open those up sooner? You know what I mean? Like, why do they not? I mean, I'm sure there's some level of distrust with China and Russia still, but
Right.
they're the only 2 people in the world that's talking to you and doing trade with you. Why would you not open those doors sooner if you're North Korea?
I think they were afraid of the pandemic
because
of their ailing medical infrastructure. I think we talked about this before, but yeah, I mean, imagine, remember in America when back in the old days of March and April of 2020, when we tried to flatten the curve, right? I mean, that's essentially what they've been trying to do.
Flatten the curve. I haven't heard that in so long. What does that mean?
Yeah, because their medical system cannot handle a huge influx of patients.
Yeah.
They just can't do it. I mean, early in the pandemic, even a city like New York City could barely handle the surge, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I truly believe that they closed their doors out of fear, and they kept them closed because of this huge fear of the pandemic.
I mean, I get that. At the same time, I think they used the Chinese vaccination when COVID kind of hit its peak, and North Korea had already claimed it made its own cure to COVID.
Right.
So it's just, man, the reason I would keep begging this point is because it would make me really sad, and I think it might be true, that it was just out of pride that they didn't open. They waited this long just to be like, I just don't want them to think we needed them sooner than this.
Wow, you sure proved a point there, Kim Jong-un.
That makes me really sad.
I mean, okay, who's visiting North Korea?
A lot of people, according to Air Koryo and what is this? Remember that one tourism company, Youth tourism something.
Yeah, Young
Pioneers. That's it, Young Pioneers.
Yeah, I mean, but they aren't coming in droves, at least from America, right? It's kind of dangerous for us, but yeah, I guess for us, like when Cuba opened up briefly for travel, there was like this fascination there too. So yeah,
it's hard to say. People with money are gonna do it, especially when it's restrictive.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to say, no, you can't have this. I think there is money being spent.
Yeah, maybe there was a morbid
in
curiosity.
Europe and around the world. Maybe not so much the U.S. Obviously, the U.S. This is not part of the headlines, but the U.S. still has not opened travel to North Korea for obvious reasons. But around the world, who knows?
Yeah,
there's probably a lot of people who want to just go there and see what it's like.
Yeah, I guess if it were open to us, we would probably do a show from North Korea.
Yes, we would.
Right? If it
would be a very different show, but we'd have to extend some of those clips we're playing or recaricaterize those in a better way.
Yeah, no, but if it were like visiting, a Central American country, right? Like, then we would probably make the trip down there, right? It would be of particular interest to us. So yeah, I guess there are people who would want to visit. Okay, sorry, North Korea.
Yeah, come on. We're trying to open bridges here, Dan, not close doors. We want people to go there so that they're more open. even if they just want the money.
I don't want to visit
isn't-
like 500 Kim Il Sung statues. Sorry.
Okay.
Maybe one.
But just to give in defense of North Korea, every country's goal with tourism is to get more money.
Yeah,
so that's
very true.
it's just what do they spend the money on? That's the bigger question.
I guess so.
What is your
I guess
focus
so.
of your budget, and who are we to judge what we spend money on? Because we spend a ton of money on
defense
as well. So
The most
who are
money.
we to point?
Yes, that's
We're
true.
pointing 4 fingers back at us when we point one finger. Is that how it goes? Someone used
Yeah.
to say that. I forget who said that.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
It definitely wasn't my dad. But yeah, you know what? I'm glad. This is a good headline to me.
Yeah, I guess
Of
so.
all the headlines, this one deserved the very upbeat, happy music. But I realized we skipped a headline, so we got to go back one. Let's hit the next one.
North Korea Freedom Week ahead of Chuseok.
All right.
Jay, you should work in media, man. That's a great.
that is.
It's a great voice for
It
reading
sounded like
headlines.
the Pulgasari background music.
I think it
thing.
might have been.
Oh, really cool. All right. Ahead of South Korea's Thanksgiving holiday, Chuseok, which happened last week, I believe, marks a season of isolation and despair for many North Koreans who have settled in the South, and I could verify that, and are unable to visit their famine-stricken hometowns and pay respect to their ancestors or celebrate the festival with friends and family. It's basically, this Thanksgiving is basically like Christmas and Thanksgiving all rolled into one in Korea.
Okay, so Chuseok, just so I'm understanding this, Chuseok is the Korean Thanksgiving holiday,
Mm-hmm. The harvest moon.
Harvest Moon holiday,
Yeah. Mhm.
and the North Korea NK Freedom Week is just happening to align this year
Yeah.
with that, or does it every year it lines up with it?
You know, I'm not sure actually. CB doesn't participate in that, so
It sounds like maybe this year because it's saying the first one in 2004 was on
it's
October
in
18th.
April. Yeah. No, that's when the signing of the bill was.
Oh,
It was
okay.
actually in April 2004.
Okay. So basically, the NK Freedom Week is kind of a floating date, but
I
this
guess
year
so.
just happens to line up with the Chuseok.
Yeah, it's become a big deal over the years. I don't disagree with their efforts. CB, our policy is not to get involved in anything political. So,
But do you guys celebrate Chuseok?
that's not political. But yeah, we had a retreat in South Korea for our refugees because they're missing their families. They don't have family to go to, so we take them out on.
I think this is a cool holiday.
Retreat, yeah.
Aside from the Freedom Week, I love the idea of the Freedom
Yeah.
Week too. But the Chuseok is a cool holiday
It's amazing.
that in the States we definitely don't have, where you go basically you remember your
Mhm.
ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we have some versions of that, but not so specific as where everyone is doing this.
Yeah, I mean, some people use Memorial Day
Sure.
as that kind of day of remembrance, but that's more of a military thing technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chuseok is that day. Last year, we took the refugees during our Chuseok festivities for them. We took them to the border, and they looked into North Korea.
Oh wow, that's
And
cool.
they were all weeping.
Ah,
Yeah. So, sorry, bummer. Yeah, I mean so it is appropriate for this week to kind of align with the North Korea Freedom Week, to align with that, because a lot of North Koreans are actually free during this time.
but it's more of like a salt on an open wound kind of celebration for them specifically, right? Because they cannot revisit their family or even their family grave sites, etc. Because it's back in North Korea.
Yeah.
So that is it's
very
bittersweet, right?
Mhm.
I'm sure they aligned it. I don't know why they did it this year so close to each other,
Mm-hmm.
the Freedom Week but maybe it was for awareness, like the headline said, for China now trying to send people back or refugees
Yeah.
back to North Korea. Just maybe it is a time of awareness.
Yeah, it is, and it's yeah. Yeah, I'm not privy to that. I don't have access to the people who organize it, but they're very thoughtful about when they do this and strategic. So, I trust that they made the right choice. I mean, I think they did. I think that is an appropriate time to also petition China, right? It's like these people are all sad, and I think what they're saying is, let's turn that sadness, let's turn that heartache into some useful energy. Let's petition this government to stop sending people back into North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If any time to get people's attention is during Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
whether it's for awareness or for their wallets.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. On our way out, we got one little extra bit of tea here. The U.S., and I'm just going to fire this one off, U.S. secures the release of the soldier who crossed into North Korea 2 months ago. If you guys remember from last month's Dogon Boricha, we covered this. The private of the U.S., Private Travis King, who ran out of a Korean tour group across the border to North Korea, now has been released by North Korea back to the U.S., the reports say he's on his way back. North Korea had abruptly announced early Wednesday.
Yeah.
This was Wednesday of the last week of September. That it would be expelling Private Travis King, though some had expected North to drag out this detention in hopes of squeezing concessions.
Yeah.
But they said, nope, you can have him back. Whoa, what's going on here?
I don't know. Yeah, this one's bizarre. This one's bizarre because, the U.S. has even gone so far as to send former presidents to secure the release of people who willingly, like this guy, Travis King, willingly went into North Korea. So I don't know why North Korea seemingly, unless there was some quiet backdoor agreement for something.
Sure.
Which probably, I'm assuming now that took place, right? They don't give anything for free. This is an asset, right? They don't just say, all right, yeah, take your guy back. So, I don't know what happened, and it's very strange that there was no announcement on what the deal was.
For whatever the reason, King's plan just blew up in his face. Essentially, he got 2 months out of running away, and I think he was expecting probably to be there longer.
Well, was there a plan? It seemed like
the plan was get away.
Yeah, I guess so. He did purposely go on that tour, so maybe he did plan that out. Like, Jay, what do you like?
Jay, what are your thoughts on running away from the military?
Yeah,
That's not good. That's
what
really
happened? So he's gonna be tried by the U.S. military, right?
Yeah, so that would mean that he's AWOL. So being in the military, I don't think he holds really any value in terms of what kind of position he's in the military. Just being a private, I'm assuming if he's a private, he hasn't been in the military very long. So, or he could have potentially gotten in trouble, which made him get demoted. Regardless...
Sorry, go ahead, finish, Jay.
Yeah, regardless, if you go AWOL, the discipline can be pretty severe, but the worst type of punishment, fortunately, we're not in a war right now, but if it's during wartime, that could be punishable by death.
Really?
Yes.
But here's my counterpoint to that. I don't think it matters what his military value is because, not to bring this lightly, Otto Warmbier had no military or intelligence value at all. He was a college student. And we were negotiating for, a year for that one?
Yeah.
If not many months. And I don't know. It's just weird. It is, to your point, it's just weird. Why would North Korea all of a sudden, when we have to pull out teeth for Otto, maybe we did though. You're right. Maybe we did have to pull out teeth.
It's got to be some thing.
It's not in the headlines.
Yeah.
Either way, just it's a big headache again.
Maybe because it was a military guy and it's a completely different justice system or something like that, and the military probably doesn't have to be as transparent as the the executive branch of the U.S. government. It's a strange one to me.
Well, that wraps up our hot tea for this month. What was the hottest tea for you, Dan? What were you drinking a lot of?
That submarine, man. That submarine was really cool looking.
It's terrifying and also ridiculous at the same time.
Yeah. What about you?
You know what? I love the idea that the borders are open. I think that's exciting to me. I feel like that's progress for good. And that's what we're always looking for. And Luna is telling us to wrap up because now she's running around destroying our set. So,
oh my gosh. The light just fell.
Hey listeners, if you'd like to make a real impact in the lives of North Korean refugees, please consider donating. Go to crossingbordersnk.org and click on the donate button in the upper right. It's so easy, your aging appa can do it by himself without FaceTiming you first thing in the morning for help with his iPhone.